What is going on, peasants? My name is JB and I am back here today with another video. This time we are going to be talking about a few ways that I think Pokemon Unite can be improved from the state that it is currently in. I'm recording this on October 27th and I have a feeling there's going to be a pretty decently sized patch coming fairly soon. It's probably not going to be till after the Halloween event ends, but I feel like sometime soon we're going to be getting a balanced patch. And I want to talk about a few things that I would like to see in said patch and just a few ways that I think that the game can be improved upon. I already said that, but it is what it is. I have a few categories specifically that we're going to be going over. I have a general category just from stuff that is the game that I feel like, just the game itself, if that makes sense. It really doesn't, but that's the one I led with, and we're going to go with it. The other categories are quality of life, just some stuff that I feel like will make the game feel and play better and just be better. And then lastly, I have a few things that I would like to talk about in ranked specifically. So those are the categories. Let's go ahead and start talking about them. And one more thing before we get started. If you agree with any of these takes, if you have any ways that what I'm about to talk about can be improved upon even further, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. We can talk about it, maybe, float some ideas out in the universe, and who knows, maybe they'll get picked up by the right people, and maybe someday we'll be able to make some changes in this game, because it's already great. Let's see if we can't make it even better. Okay, I lied. I know I said we were going to be starting with the more general category, but I wrote it down wrong. We're actually going to be starting with the quality of life section. Not that it really matters, but that's what we're doing. And the first thing that I want to talk about here is they got to do something to fix these frame rate issues in big team fights. Every time there's a fight over Dread or Zapdos, Rotom, just at any objective and people start popping their Unite moves, your frames drop from 59 all the way down to the 20s, the high teens. I've even hit near single digits sometimes. I think the lowest I hit was 12. I hit that tonight as I'm recording this. It was pretty rough. Now, I'm sure there's something behind the scenes that they could tweak to make it better. And I also hear that this isn't that big of a problem on mobile, which is honestly disheartening, as this game was so clearly not made for the Switch. I don't know, it's kind of sad, because just imagine how much bigger and better this game could be if it were, ported better to specifically the Switch. Or my God, could you imagine how gigantic this game would be on PC? It would be huge, but that's beside the point. Basically, they need to do something to fix it, whether that be adding something like a graphics setting so we can lower our graphics, because this game doesn't need to look phenomenal. I mean, it'll already look good because it's Pokemon. Maybe add an option for low settings so we can get the highest frame rate possible. I mean, every game ever does that. I know there are limitations to the Switch, but I don't know, man. They should be able to do something. I shouldn't be hitting near single digit frames anytime a big team fight happens, because it's really important that that doesn't happen. I get, it happens to pretty much everyone, so it's kind of an even playing field, but why not just make your game better? I don't know. Seems like a pretty obvious thing to me. All right, the next thing I have is I feel like there needs to be a way to respec your items. This is something that I've heard quite a few people talk about, and it's something that I feel like definitely needs to be implemented into the game somehow, because I feel like especially early on in the game's life cycle, they did a horrible job of explaining how items work. It took people like the guys from UniteDB and other websites and other YouTubers and just people who play the game to really figure out how certain items work. Like specifically, I remember Floatstone. It took a couple weeks. That may be exaggerating, timelines, but it took a while for people to know that Floatstone only activated outside of combat. Same thing with Assault Vest. It took people a really long time to learn how Experience Share worked, how Rocky Helmet works, stuff like that. And people might have, leveled those items up thinking they were going to be good, like they were in like the main series games. Like I know I leveled up Leftovers specifically a lot, because coming from a competitive, singles draft league background, I'm like, oh, Leftovers is like the best item in the game. I'm gonna just level up Leftovers. There's no way it's bad. Turns out Leftovers is really bad in this game. So I feel like there needs to be a way to respec your items. They kind of remedied that a little bit with the level 30 item enhancers, because you do get your investment back from whatever you decide to level up. However, there's an item in the shop currently, the rename card, that costs 100 gems. Now I'm not saying there needs to be like a real money component to this, but I don't know. And before I say this, it does need to be pretty expensive, probably. Maybe 1,000 coins, maybe. Or that's probably too much, maybe like 750 coins, 500 tickets or something. Add an item that lets you reset your your held items. That feels like a pretty big no-brainer to me. Seems like it would do no harm. Hell, add another way for you to make some money. You can add a gems option to it as well, because you can buy tickets with gems, but that's beside the point. add a way for people to respect their items. And you could even do something where you can do it for free, but it's on a cooldown. Like say you want to respec your assault vest or whatever, you can do it, but you can't add more item enhancers back to it for 24 hours or a week or whatever. Just add a way for people to be able to respec their held items, battle items, whichever one. It doesn't matter. Next. Okay, now this next one is another thing that I totally get why it's like this, but I still feel like it would be a great way to attract more casual players and potentially even new players. Add more ways to acquire Unite licenses. Add more ways to acquire the Pokemon that people want to play. Like the Crustle event. If you remember back to the launch of the game, there was that 7-day challenge where if you completed every challenge for every day, you got Crustle for free. Add more stuff like that. Of course, this is a money-making game. They're out to make money. That is the objective of a technically free-to-play game. There are some pay-to-win aspects, the scope lens, blah, blah, blah. I just got to throw that disclaimer out there so people don't come at me sideways. I get it. There are some pay-to-win things, but this is primarily a free-to-play game. They, of course, have to make their money. One of the ways they make their money is people want to, play their favorite Pokemon. They either have to play the game for a really long time or they just, fork over a couple bucks. Now, that's beside the point. That is what it is. That's how these, things work. That's cool. But just add more ways for people to do it because it feels a little bit disheartening that say you want to play Garchomp. Garchomp's your favorite Pokemon. Garchomp costs 10k coins. You don't have 10k coins. You got to play the game for 5 weeks to get 10k coins. That feels a little bit grindy to get one Pokemon. Add, add just a way that people can earn more Unite licenses. Whether that be like one, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a weekly thing. Maybe every month, maybe every couple weeks. Just add another challenge like the Crustle event. Make it easier for people to get the Pokemon they want. They kind of did that with Greedent, which I really do appreciate. So just more of that, please. More of that. Okay, so that one kind of cut off abruptly because I realized it kind of, in a way, tied into something I want to talk about with this next point, and that is make the level up rewards better, specifically in later levels, and also just raise the level cap of the game. If you don't know, after level 16, you get nothing but a bunch of tickets and item enhancers. You get some coins every now and then, which the coins are appreciated, but I feel like the rewards for hitting the highest level in the game should be more than 100 item enhancers, which at that point in the game, kind of irrelevant. I feel like once you hit level 40, you should honestly just get a free Unite license. Like, bro, come on, man. I played the game long enough to hit the highest level possible at the moment. Reward me with, a Pokemon I don't have unlocked. That feels fair. I don't know. Now, if that becomes a thing where once they start raising the level cap, which I'm sure they will at some point, does that become a thing that they have to do at every, level cap? I don't see why that would be a bad thing, but it just feels like a good idea. I feel like, just make the level up rewards feel more rewarding. So that's that. Okay, so this next one is going to be more general things / gameplay focused. And the first one, I might catch the heat for this one. This might be a little bit controversial, but I think there needs to be a specific report in the after game for griefing. I've had so many players just completely and seemingly purposely throw my games that there needs to be a report option just for that. Like the guys who purposely last hit every Pokemon and keep you from evolving. That happens. The guys who don't call a lane in the pre-game phase and then still jungle. That's griefing in my opinion. It doesn't need to be enforced as harshly as, something like leaving, but it needs to be there because, let's be real, it's kind of a big problem. Add something specifically for that. That seems pretty harmless, but I'm sure some people won't like that, so if you don't like that, my bad. Okay, onto a lighter note. I feel like the roles need to be balanced better. Make everyone viable. Now, obviously, at the higher ends of play, there will be a dominant meta. That's just the way these things go in every competitive game. I'm not saying that we need to shake up the meta constantly. What I am saying, though, is speedsters and all-arounders generally need just a little bit more love. Because outside of Lucario and Zeraora, who are two of the top, 5 or 6 Pokemon in the game, and Talonflame to some extent, they really aren't all that viable in the higher levels of play. In, solo queue, you can kind of get away with doing whatever. But it still feels like, why would you pick Charizard over Lucario? Why would you pick, Machamp over Lucario? Why would you pick Gengar over Talonflame? Like, you really wouldn't. So just sprinkle in a little bit more love for these other Pokemon. I'm not saying, make everything overpowered so nothing's overpowered. That's not a great way to balance a game. I'm just saying, make things a little bit easier for certain Pokemon. Like the level 10 evolutions, just make them better. Like Mamoswine, it's okay. It is by far the best level 10 evolution in the game, and that's not even saying much. Mamoswine is very good. Make it come on a little bit earlier. Garchomp and Gardevoir specifically, they need a lot of help. Now, I get why they are, you know, considered to be late game Pokemon, but it is so hard to get to the late game. It kind of feels like you're throwing. Just make everyone more viable. Make the roles more viable. Balance the roles. Just make it feel like I'm not throwing when I want to play my favorite Pokemon. I shouldn't feel like I'm punishing my team because I like Gengar, you know? Just make it easier. Make it make sense. All right, for the last general gameplay thing I want to talk about, this is another thing that I feel like could get way out of hand if they do it wrong, but I feel like they need to make some of the battle items better. Outside of Eject Button, Fluffy Tail, Full Heal to some extent, like there's kind of no reason to run a lot of the battle items. Like their potion is completely useless. There are niche reasons to run the X items. Slow Smoke is fun, but it's not that great. Gold Getter's pretty niche as well. I just feel like there needs to be a way to make these things better. And one idea I had, and this could get completely broken if they overdo it, so they need to be very careful if they do ever decide to implement something like this. Make it so they scale. How potion recovers 15% of your HP. Make it so later in the game, your potion levels up with you. So say, it's like level caps, like every 5 levels. So level 5, 10, 15, say potion goes from, this is just, general numbers. I'm not trying to, actually balance it or anything. So it goes from 15% HP to level 5, 20, 25, 30, so on, I'm not saying, 5 every level. I'm saying every 5 levels, give it some extra percent, give it some extra healing, just so it feels like it's actually making a dent when you need it. So, and same thing with like the X speed, X attack. Those are the ones that could get really broken if they do it wrong. So maybe don't tweak those as much, but maybe X attack goes from 20% to 25% at level 15, something like that, just so it feels like it gives you a little bit more oomph, a little bit more reason to run that over an Eject Button, over a Fluffy Tail. Just make stuff better. It feels fun. Make the game fun. All right, and the last category we're going to be talking about here today is going to be focused on the ranked queue specifically. That is the mode I play the most. That is the mode I enjoy the most personally. So I want to talk about some things that I feel like could be improved upon. First things first, remove bot matches from ranked. They should not be a thing. I don't really know why they are. No one seems to know why they are. Yeah, I get it. It's a thing for newer players to help them not get discouraged if they're on a big losing streak. But after you hit a certain rank, say after you hit even expert or maybe even great, just remove bot matches altogether. They really should not be a thing. There should be no reason why in high vet, ultra games, even in masters, bot matches should just not be a thing. That's as plain and simple as it is. Remove bot matches. All right, the next thing for ranked, and this is another thing that I just cannot fathom why it's not a thing, add a damn team queue. This doesn't need to be something that's, outwardly expressed on a menu. It could be just something behind the scenes. There should be absolutely no scenario ever where a person playing solo and even a duo queue should be up against a 5-stack. That should not happen. It is completely unfair, completely unbalanced. That should not be a thing. This game has a massive player base. If the queue times are longer because of it, I'm cool with it personally. The queues go from 15 seconds to 35 seconds. Completely fine with me. Never match solo players up with 5-stacks or even trios. It's completely unfair, completely unbalanced. That should not ever be a thing. Okay, and the last thing I want to touch on here is I feel like there needs to be a slightly tighter restriction on who can and can't get into each other's games. Now, I'm not saying if you're playing together, if you're stacking, you should be able to play with whoever the hell you want. Like if you're a master and your buddy's a great rank and you want to play with each other, fine. I don't care. Play with whoever the hell you want. I'm talking about specifically a solo queue meta where myself, a veteran ultra player, I bounce back between the two. I'm completely irrelevant in this conversation for the most part because I can play with really whoever I want. I get into games with everybody. I literally had a game where there was a master player and a great player on my team. That sucks for the master player and it also sucks for the great player. You should not have the extremes of the ranked ladder meeting on the same team. Now, like I said, you're playing with your buddies, play with whoever the hell you want. That's fine, don't care. I'm saying specifically in solo queue, needs to be a little bit tighter restrictions on who can and can't get into each other's games. Now, I understand that might come with some consequences, but if the queue times go from 15 to 20 seconds to 25 to 30 seconds, I don't think many people are going to complain about that. This game has a massive player base at the moment, and it ups the quality of games, makes games feel better. It makes people feel like they're not getting cheated out of a win, or they're in, you know, too deep and they can't really hang with the enemy team, you know, stuff like that. Just make it tighter, make it so certain players are ending up on certain teams with each other in solo queue specifically. So I think that's pretty much it. I think I touched on all of the things I want to touch on here in this video. If I missed anything that you think really needs to be improved upon, or if you have any ideas for the things that I mentioned, any ways that they can be improved upon even further, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to check out all my social medias and stuff like that. Drop a like on the video, subscribe, do all the YouTuber stuff. I'm gonna get the heck out of here now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.